All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling Channel video. It is 5 a.m. here in the UK, but we've got a few things to talk about, of course, with the results of the Royal Rumble and some big stories that have come out of it as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive straight into that right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling Channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, yeah, welcome back again to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling Channel. It's been a long day of streams here with a build-up show and then going into Royal Rumble itself. But the show is now over, and there are quite a few things that have come out of it as far as big stories go. Now, of course, within the Rumble, you always get these kind of feuds that seem to flare up. Of course, the ones we thought we might see, Jimmy versus Jay, Drew and Sammy getting a little bit of a nod as well. Of course, Sami Zayn returning in the Men's Royal Rumble. But the big stories, of course, are always who wins the Rumble matches. Now, I've got to be honest, it's just finished. I'm not happy. Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble isn't what I wanted to see. We saw it last year. I'm never a fan of repeat winners, especially 2 years in a row. I feel like it's a waste of a position. And we talked about earlier on, it was like when Edge won, he didn't need to win. He could have gone to Mania and did what he needed to do without winning the Rumble. So for me, it was disappointing. A few comments here. We had a Critic Galaxy saying Rumble so far is yeah. And a woo from Slush Sports before we went live, who's now joined us and said, can I just say something? I was really mad about number 12. I saw Imperium and I thought it was Gunther. But then I saw Ludwig Kaiser. That is just a waste of spot. So underwhelming, Ludwig Kaiser. I thought it was good, and Gunther came out eventually. Don't get me wrong. So, but yeah, no, I just feel like for me, the Cody Rhodes thing is awful. I really am not a fan of it. Like, it was obvious he was going to go face Roman. And I think the story they're trying to tell is he started again. He did it all over again. Isn't that amazing? I don't care. Like, no. Like, I want him. I am in the camp of he needs to win at WrestleMania, but he didn't need to win the Rumble to get to that. And that's really annoyed me. Now, I know the other argument is, well, what about Punk then? Does he just get everything handed to him when he comes back? Maybe he should. I don't know. Like, it was a good story, in my opinion. Him winning it to face Seth, because now he's probably going to face Seth, but it's going to be just because he asks him and Seth, for some reason, goes, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Which I guess you could argue that Reigns was never going to give Cody the shot. And yeah, that nice scene at the end, to be fair, Reigns reacting to it. But other than that, not a fan of Cody Rhodes winning. I feel like the whole night was a bit of a waste when you get to that. And I know it's not. It's dramatic. Don't get me wrong. Because most of the show I really enjoyed. But then getting to that last point and being like, I stayed up till 5 for that. Like, for Cody to, you know, weren't we here 12 months ago? And that's the thing for me. Let's get on to the more positive stuff. And again, I love Cody. I think he's fantastic. I want him to win the title, but he doesn't need to win the Rumble to do that, in my opinion. So let's go back. Let's go to the beginning of the show. The Women's Royal Rumble, I thought, was fantastic. I think it was probably the better Rumble out of two. There were more surprises. It was surreal seeing people like Jade Cargill in the ring against, you know, the moments we hoped we'd see against Bianca Belair. We got the return of Naomi, Jordan Grace as well showing up. It felt like a TNA battle royal at the beginning. It was really cool to see these different kind of characters pop up. And once again, a lot of the kind of younger girls as well coming in up from the ranks in recent years from NXT. So I felt like they had a bit more of a foot in this time around. People, you know, recognized them as, you know, it was that year or two ago where loads of people were thrown in, and half the Royal Rumble, I think people were like, who's this? If you didn't watch NXT. Now it's kind of a little bit more, filled out of talent, I feel. And there was no like legend return for the women. And I think in the first few years, it was all about kind of giving people their shot, the women that never got to have that opportunity because that didn't exist for them. So there's that. But then there's also kind of, you always get these kind of throwback people in the Rumbles. So it's kind of odd to not get anyone from, the Attitude Era, for this Aggression Era, or before or after as well. So, little change there. But again, it didn't feel like it suffered because of it, because we also therefore had returns and debuts. The return, of course, of Liv Morgan at the very end. So again, all in all, I felt like the women's Rumble had more exciting moments, but the men's Rumble, to be fair, was good, and it had the kind of continuation of storyline. Like I said, Drew McIntyre, which it looks like it's going to go into Sami Zayn. For me, the Cody and Punk thing, I was thinking, it's Punk. It's going to be Punk. Of course it is. Why would they do the same thing again with Cody Rhodes? Until Punk said, I didn't, come back after 10 years to lose to Dusty Kid. As soon as he said that, I knew he was losing. The other things I felt somewhat predictable, and it's not a bad thing, but, Punk coming out at 27, I actually started to make me think 27. I bet he's picked that because he wants to make 27 that number again. I think Austin won from 27. It used to be the number everyone used to talk about before 30 took over with, I think, 5 winners now. But yeah, it wasn't to be. But then you did get, I expected Drew. Ricochet was the one towards the end as well. But of course, Sami Zayn coming out with your classic Drew in the middle of the ring and Sami running straight after him. Gunther had a great kind of a showing in this match as well. A bit of a shame. I guess another opportunity for him to win. I was saying on the build-up, I didn't think he should anyway because of the IC title at the moment. But still, that would have been something different at least. Sludge says, me too. I wanted Gunther to win. I would be a little bit more happy with Punk, but I agree. I don't like Cody winning back-to-back. One of the worst women's Rumbles that really you didn't like. I actually see, weirdly enough, I like the women's Rumble. I thought it was pretty good. There was some sloppy spots, don't get me wrong, but I think for like moments and like these kind of, which is what I like about the Rumble, being like, wow, look at these people together, it was pretty cool for that, in my opinion. Same as you then, Sludge. It seems like we've got the same opinion about Cody winning back-to-back. And for me, I just feel it's a wasted spot. Much like when Edge won it a few years ago, that story could be told without the Rumble. Like, Cody could win the Chamber. Like, I'm okay with that because that's different. That's something. Like, I don't mind him getting to Rumble, to Mania, sorry. But I just don't. Someone else. Oh, so I'm getting angry. I'm going to smash my keyboard. Someone else could have won the Royal Rumble, and it's annoying. Like, yeah, I know Punk isn't, fresh and young and all that, but he's never won it before, so it would have been different there. Underwhelming, Sludge says. But Andrade, that's a great point. We had Andrade returning as well. That was cool. He had a really cool outfit and mask as well. Yeah, that was good. It was good to see him back. It was weird because we, Sludge, you were with us on the build up earlier on. We were on for about 3.5 hours, and there were so many different scenarios we came up with, and returns and possible feuds and stuff like that. And I don't think you even mentioned Andrade once. And he was obviously massively rumored for quite some time. It just shows, again, as down as I am on the Cody win, there's a lot of good in WWE at the moment and a lot to be excited about and a lot of potential. And I think for me, the highlight of the night was Jade Cargill. I think her debut was fantastic. She wasn't in it too long. She wasn't in it too short. We were talking about that before the show started, whether or not, her being in a long would be a damaging thing, whether or not her being in short and being thrown out would be damaging if she didn't come in and win the thing. But I think they played it really well, and they kind of teased us, as far as showed us a few kind of possible feuds going forward. Graham Barris has joined us. Thank you very much, buddy. He says, I've got to say that is one of the worst Rumbles ever. The Women's Rumble was great, but the other 3 matches were not. Complete opposite to Sludge when it comes to the Rumbles, but I think I'm more with you, Graham, in the sense that I really enjoyed the women's. The men's, I think it's the ending that's put me down. Cody winning again. I just think, again, we were here 12 months ago. And then, the other matches, I don't know. Like, I was really hyped for Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul, and it was good. But I think I expected more. I think having only 4 matches as well, I expected more. but it wasn't bad. It was just not as good as it could have been, I guess. And then what was the other match? Yeah, the Fatal 4-Way. I think, again, this positioning, how weird was that seeing Roman Reigns go on second, by the way? The whole time, like a bit, I'll be honest with you, because I was setting up the stream and getting things ready and that, I barely watched the Fatal 4-Way match because I just was like, well, it doesn't matter, does it? He's not going to lose. So, and I already kind of felt like that going into it. But then when you put it that position on the card, could you imagine Roman's reign ended on the second match at Royal Rumble, and then we had to watch a US title match and then a Royal Rumble match with completely different stories. But one of the big stories in the modern era, Roman Reigns loses his title, that would have been second. So that frustrated me because it just told me it weren't going to happen. But again, credit where it's due. Cool spots at the end, good finish between them. I did like that. I'm just trying to look at my notes to see anything I've kind of missed. Pat McAfee coming out in the men's one. The spot where you get the commentator get up, and it was funny. He climbs out, gets back in, climbs out. But I can't help but feel like it's a wasted spot. And that's only. I feel that's worse when there's no surprises. So at least we got some sort of stuff like that. But yeah, the R-Truth stuff in the women's rumble, I thought was quite funny, and he was really funny in the men's as well. What else did we get? Oh, you know what I really liked about this one? The graphics of how long someone's been in the Rumble on both matches. I thought that was really cool. Then there was the ad graphic. Did you notice that on the countdown, the C4, and then so much so when it got to 4, it buzzed about and changed. But things have changed in WWE lately. They've got a lot more kind of advertising space, it seems, and they're willing to kind of give up that they didn't do before. Get to some of these comments here. Sludge Sports says, the Fatal 4-Way was underwhelming as well. And Graham says the 4-Way was predictable, and Solo coming to the rescue is becoming oh my goodness, I could not agree more. It was so annoying. Like, the chant, same old, I won't say it. I was just hoping the fans would start chanting that to send a message. Again, there's so much about WWE enjoy at the moment, but I don't need to see that. The only positive was it didn't you could say momentum and all that if you're looking at it as a legitimate competition and you're really suspending your disbelief. But other than that, it doesn't directly, influence the end. So there was that at least. But it's like, well, then did we need to do it? Like, no, it was completely pointless. Graham says the ending of the US match, US Raw match was enjoyable until the end. I guess supposed to say title match, but maybe a little bit of autocorrect. Such a bad ending, and the men's rumble was just awful. That's strong claim there, Graham. Awful is a strong claim. I mean, you had the brass knuckle ending thing. What was weird about that is that that's not usually how things work. And there was another moment in that, I think it was in the Rumble match itself, the men's one, where they mentioned something in commentary, and I was like, it's when it suits you, that's how the rules work, apparently. But yeah, it kind of worked like this in as well. Like, he didn't see the offense, so he shouldn't have stopped. And even if he did stop to go, oh, what are you doing? You can't DQ him. Like, I know. Then again, it happened the classic spot of Eddie Guerrero throwing a chair, and I love that. So maybe I'm been a hypocrite, but he didn't see the offense, so a bit of a weird one for me. Can we not talk about Pat freaking Pat McAfee? Wasted spot. Graham agrees as well. Another Cody win was just what rubbish. Should have had Gunther. Should have had that. Yeah, it's an odd one with Gunther. Like I was saying earlier, my concern with him was I feel like it's the natural step forward, and I think he deserves it. He's fantastic, but I was really fearful that he'd go, I don't need the IC title anymore or something like that. Again, I hated what Samoa Joe did with the ROH TV title a little while ago, and I didn't want to see a similar thing. So it says Sheamus, Solo, Chad Gable, Otis, Montez, Angelo, Woods. So many people could have been replacing Pat, and I would have been okay with that. That's a good point. There's some big names there, actually, or names that you would usually at least expect to see. And you added more: Dragon Lee, Trick Williams, Johnny Gargano. Yeah, he wasn't even it. Pete Dunne, who's just got his name back, wasn't in it as well. Graham says, I was hoping for Pat going into the Rumble, but we all know he can perform in the ring. But him just eliminating himself was a comedic spot that just didn't land. Yeah, I agree, man. I think the good thing about Pat is he is one of those, as you say, like celebs who can go in the ring. He's fun to watch. Bad Bunny, they've been really blessed in that in recent years, and Logan Paul's the best example of that. But yeah, like that's not Pat's character. I mean, I guess he's comedic, so he can play up the role being scared of Bron Breakker and Omos, which was cool. Omos was back and Bron Breakker in the match as well. That was cool. But yeah, they just weren't enough for me. And there was, like you say there, Graham, certain things just didn't land, and it was a bit of a shame. I think for me, I hate being down about things, you know what I mean? And coming on in, I don't want to just come in and moan, because overall, like for most of the event, I enjoyed myself. It's just I'm a big believer in the Rumble needs to either be someone breaking through that glass ceiling to that next step, like your LA Knight, which I thought was never going to happen, which is why he won in the match, so that there wasn't a backlash, in my opinion. Or it needs to be something at least fresh. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that Cody won it last year, maybe I'm just kind of going on now. Sorry, guys, if I'm just repeating myself. I know I've said that already, but yeah. Frustrating. But again, the positives from the night, I think Jade Cargill being teased, with Bianca Belair. I thought the ending was fantastic. The bit where Naomi and Becky got eliminated at the same time through Cargill, I thought was fantastic as well. Jordan Grace versus Bianca as well. That was a cool little moment. Something I didn't like in the women's, though, is the former tag champs coming out all smiley and happy and stuff like that. I get that this is a big moment for them, and I get that they're trying to probably come across in a certain way because they're baby faces, but I just thought that was quite odd that you lost your titles yesterday and you're in a really good mood. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. Naomi's return was cool as well. Really good to see her back. It was an emotional one for her, you could see, and it was nice. I felt like, and they mentioned TNA, and they mentioned her being Knockouts champion and going away and coming back and all that stuff. And of course, there's a potential for bad blood there, considering that whether or not you're on her side or WWE side, realistically, WWE wouldn't have been happy about what happened there. So I thought it was quite good of them to kind of like put her over so well. And she was in the match for a really, really long time as well. Sludge says, and also JD McDonough breaking a record, so many wasted spots. Yeah, my internet messed up there, so I missed JD. I didn't really understand what went on. Truth threw him back inside, but had he not already been eliminated then? Because that's what he kind of made it sound like it was Truth's fault on commentary, and he kind of actually got thrown out. That was a bit confusing for me because my again, signal cutting out. Graham says, imagine if Punk came back tonight instead of Survivor Series. Pop would have been insane and would have woken up that quiet crowd. You know what? The crowd sounded really good until about halfway through the show. I think the pacing was just really strange on this show. Yeah, Punk coming back at the Rumble. You know what? Even Punk coming out at the Rumble felt surreal to me watching it back. It was pretty cool. But I don't think I would trade the Survivor Series thing, because that was just one of the best moments in, again, the modern era. I think just amazing. The surprise there, like just the shock that have they really done this? They've actually pulled this off. Like, yeah, unbelievable. But anyway, that's it. There are positives. There are things to still be excited about. I don't know how you get to Punk. I mean, Punk maybe could win the Elimination Chamber or something to get the right to face Rollins, but otherwise, I don't want it to be, I'm sick of, not sick of, I don't want to be too harsh. I don't want Cody to win because we've done it already. I wanted to win at Mania, but then wanted to win the Rumble to get there that way. It should have been something different. And I don't want Seth again to go, you know what, I've got a bad back and my arm's falling off and my head's on fire and whatever else is going on. Again, if he's genuinely injured at this moment in time, I hope the best for him. But of course, that's been his character for about a year now. I've got a dodgy back, Nakamura, please don't touch it. I've made it through. And the fighting champion thing, if this story is literally going to be him going, look, Punk, I hate you, my body's falling apart, I'm a fighting champ, come on, let's do it. I don't buy that. So I'm a bit concerned about that. But you know what? This is the most exciting time for wrestling fans, and there's so much they can do. The Raw after Rumble is usually a really fun one as well. So again, I'm going to try not to be too down about it. And I'm a bit tired, guys. It's 5:17 in the morning. So maybe I'm just being a bit grouchy. But let's get to some more comments before we start wrapping up. Sludge says he got clothesline from Bron Breakker and then True threw him back in and he lasted a second. Okay, so yeah, so he didn't get eliminated when he got clothesline then, because that's the bit I missed. So, but still, yeah, a quick elimination. I get what you're saying. JD's spot with me was fine, says Graham. If only for R-Truth. If he wasn't involved, then I totally agree in it being a wasted spot. Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Because the R-Truth stuff was really funny. But you could also argue that, well, we got that in the women's. So, because that was funny as well. But hey, more of R-Truth in the Judgment Day. It's all been good lately. Like the field of superstars at the end of the Men's Rumble was so good. And I liked the champs being up in their boxes and stuff like that. There were definitely things I liked about the men's. But again, it reminds me so much of Edge winning a few years ago when he, in my opinion, could have got to WrestleMania without that. But hey, other than that, good show. Last year's Rumble was a lot better. Cody winning last year was a lot better, in my opinion. Sami Zayn turning last year was a great moment. So it'd be hard to top last year's Rumble anyway. But at the same time, look, we all knew Cody. I mean, most of us had the opinion that Cody was going to WrestleMania to face Roman Reigns. Most of us think he's going to win the title, and rightly so. But he didn't need to do this bit, you know. Anyway, knew Cody was going to win. As soon as Punk said he wasn't losing to exactly Graham, I thought the same thing. As soon as he said I didn't come back after 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid and was kind of healing it up, I thought, oh, Punk, what'd you do that for? It's not happening. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, it's been a good one. As much as I'm a little bit down about the result, I'm hoping in the next few days I'll be perked back up by seeing what happens on Monday Night Raw and so on. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's joined us on this stream, whether you're watching live on demand. Would love to hear from you and know what you thought of the Royal Rumble and the results and the kind of way they got there and where we're going after this. The road to WrestleMania is full steam ahead from this point. Thank you as well to everyone that joined us earlier on our build-up show. We were hyping up the event again. We were here for 3.5 hours. It was a real fun one. We had some of our friends from the wrestling media join us as well. And if you're new here, please subscribe and check out more of our content, other reviews, previews, of course, coming up, interviews with WWE superstars on this channel as well. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining. Graham says, good night, everyone, with a GTS go to sleep is right again. 5:20 in the morning, buddy. That is some good advice for me here in the UK. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.